Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk. I'm your host, Joe with Coinigy, joined by Mr. Brian Beamish from therationalinvestor.com.
Hello, everyone. Good evening,
Hello.
afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world.
Welcome, and thank you guys for joining us or tuning in. We appreciate everyone who's here. And how we doing today, Brian?
I'm okay. How are you?
Not too shabby. It's been about 2 weeks now, so excited to kind of talk. It's been a kind of a crazy couple of weeks here since
Yeah,
some
total
yeah,
face rip,
Bitcoin
eh?
hitting 44 again, which is kind of exciting. Kind of seeing maybe the bulls are back, but I guess we can dive in and talk about that. But I know you wanted to quickly talk about what you guys got going on over at Rational Investor.
Yeah. Slow and steady wins a race. The problem in this game is it's pretty dangerous to chase. So, a little worried about people coming in now and getting all excited about crypto. I think we've been talking at least for, past 6, 8 months or so. How
Yeah.
long have we been doing these shows? We've been doing them a
That's
while, huh?
yeah, probably 7 months or so, I'd say. I
Yeah.
think since May.
Yeah, so 2023 was supposed to be get your act together and get everything all ready to go. And now the markets are lifting here. And I'm worried that people don't have their act together. And they're just going on social media and they're saying, hey, that guy says this thing's going to go up 10x. Let's just go and mortgage a house and what the hell? Let's roll them bones, right?
Yeah. Yikes.
Which is always a potion for disaster.
Yeah.
But actually, there's a couple names. There was one that we've been, and I don't know whether you're keeping track of paper trading and all that kind of stuff that we kind of wanted you to try
Yeah.
and sort of do on the Coinigy platform. But like Link, for instance,
I
when
bought
we
in on that
talked a
one.
little bit about that one, it's jumped up quite a bit. Then we had another one. Remember that Verge, that funny porno coin
Uh
from last cycle? Who knows what business they're in now?
that was that it?
But I noticed that he's starting to perk up a little bit. And then of course, there's been a whole bunch of names that we've been buying, and for our little old lady accounts that have all been zooming higher here. In fact, out there was one today that did technically double on us, but I've got the account over on the ledger. And unfortunately, after all the DeFi fees, the double disappears. Boo,
Yeah.
hiss, hiss, boo. So, still trying to wrap my head around how we're going to manage that going forward. But I suppose on paper, buy an asset at 40 cents and it's sitting here 70, 80 cents. I suppose we got nothing to complain about. But anyway, so that's what's happening at TRI. I suppose, we do have another school term coming up here. So if you are interested and you're watching these videos and you kind of want to learn how to run a small business of trading effectively, we've got new school term program coming up here relatively soon. And at the same time, so we can always include the link here in the
Yes.
video description. I don't know where
Send
you
that
want to
to me.
put
I'll
this or
toss it
not.
in.
I don't know whether you already have this or not, but I can always just send it to you. There it is
Yeah.
on Discord. And then we do have our crypto or our internal engine that we use to measure the market. I'm a little concerned, as sort of a testament to me being an old commodities broker. I built this weekly commodities trend survey sort of matrix to help me identify assets that I think are investable. And really simply put, scores of fives and sixes are assets that I am very interested. I think that they do have potentials to go. And ones and twos, I actually want to think about shorting and definitely cannot buy. And unfortunately, maybe even last spring when we probably pulled this up, we saw a lot of fives and sixes on this crypto
Yeah.
universe. Now you can see the fives. There's no sixes on here. Um, and there's a few fives that are still kicking around, and unfortunately, the list of twos and threes and fours, I'm just not even interested. But the list of twos are starting to grow quite substantially, and of course, everybody's all excited about Bitcoin. Unfortunately, a guy like me, I look at Bitcoin and you can see here, 52-week high 40, but now I suppose that's above 40 when this updates. This is updated on a weekly basis. And you can actually see 50% rules. I actually think the risks now in Bitcoin are skewed to the downside, not the upside. So there's no way in heck I could justify investing in something like Bitcoin right here.
Yeah.
But that's an old gnarly trader dude, right? I've been at this game for like 30 plus years, and I've learned the hard way that you can't buy up markets. If you do, the statistical odds of you actually losing money are higher than you making money. Having said that, usually the public buys up markets. They chase, and you might look pretty good in the short term, but 9 times out of 10, that 50% rule, you remember who came up with a 50% rule? Do you remember? That was
WD
nice trivia.
Gant.
Huh?
WD Gant.
Very good. Excellent. You can jump. You're jumping through the hoops right out of the gate.
Yes, sir.
Good to hear. Mr. W.D. Gann would tell you, and that's why I track the 50% rule so closely, that this is sort of your keep your self honest indicator. You want to try and buy assets below the 50% rule, let the market come up into the 50% rule as sort of a nice, easy profit objective, maybe let some go. Establish a risk-free trade, and then if the asset wants to moon, great, awesome. But a new person coming in and buying 52-week highs, it's in my experience, it usually ends in heartache. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on the market right now. And like I said, we have this really awesome platform that we've built. It's pretty accurate sort of matrix of the market. We have a list of the top performing names if I wanted to trade the market on momentum. And then, of course, in the broader universe, you can see things like Algorand, pretty popular right now. And I like the chart. I mean, the chart's not bad. In fact, you can clearly see where you're supposed to be long Algorand. But at the same time, too, what's happening now is as prices are lifting, market's got a bit of momentum behind it. This is sort of our momentum gauge in the marketplace. You can see how the broader crypto market is actually actually the broader crypto market still pointing up quite comfortably. And the top 30 index, that's basically these guys, it's starting to get back up into nosebleed territory here. We're up in the high 80s as of yesterday's print. My hunch is we'll probably be up into the 90s here. And you can kind of see the stock market, just generally speaking, it turned back up there at the end of October. It's starting to get kind of toppy looking as well. It's not overbought as crypto is right now. But at the same time, too, usually the first week or two of December, we have what's called the irrational exuberance window.
Mm-hmm.
Which was an expression coined by Mr. Greenspan, geez, about 20 years ago. And there's often a bit of a pullback following the U.S. Thanksgiving holiday. Usually, in fact, actually today is the anniversary of that irrational exuberance speech. Usually, and actually, he did the speech, and then the next day the market fell like by 5%. So that's why it made it famous. But usually, there's a bit of a sort of a hangover following the turkey weekend. Actually, I haven't seen too much of that this year, other than I've been seeing things like crude oil is just falling apart here. So that's an interesting commentary on the commodities markets themselves. If anything, seeing the way that gold has been acting here recently. Whoops, where did my tab go? Whoops, where did I put it? I guess this was over here, right? Yeah. Seeing the way gold has been acting here recently, I guess it shouldn't surprise us that Bitcoin has been moving up smartly. And actually, just illustration purposes, this is an index that I actually built to help me measure the market technically. And I don't know, you tell me what letters of the alphabet do you see down here?
And some W's there.
And sure enough, you see the W's in the indicators. And what did price do? Vroom, up she goes.
Parabolic.
So we don't really have any sell signals here per se. Don't see any M's or moving average crosses or anything along those lines. So I am still thinking up. Now remember, this is a weekly chart, so it updated as of Sunday. But I suppose we could probably go and look over on Coinigy platform
Yes, sir. Much
and
advancement there.
take a look at what sort of the short, maybe daily picture looks like. Not quite sure what's going on with all this stuff. All right. So if we go BTC, there we go.
Stamped
So,
there. Yeah, clipped into
so
44 today.
yeah. Actually, it's funny. Yeah, I won't get into that conversation today, but there is your chart. And actually, speaking of 50% rules, now we're brushing up against the all-time high 50% level. So this is an interesting technical level.
All right.
And I actually even put a tweet out, we'll have it on here, about how Bitcoin seems to like to rally up to um, the 61.8 fib. I don't know whether you've been formally introduced to Brandon, but
I have
he was an
not.
old crude oil trader that I used to trade with, and his nickname in the pits was Mountain Man.
Uh,
So
you've
you probably
mentioned
heard me
him.
make reference to Mountain
Yeah.
Man levels in the past. But like we have 1.618. What's that called in mathematics land?
1.618. The golden ratio.
Very good. And 2.618. Where do we get that reference?
That is from the Foggenbaum's chaos theory.
Right, very good. So you get the impression 0.618
Three for
seems
three to
to.
start today. Let's go.
Pardon me?
That's 3 for 3
Yeah,
to
you're
start
kicking butt.
today.
Yeah, you're actually learning stuff. Way to go. So you can see there's 2.618, and actually we could also do, how are we going to do this? Let's go here to here, and then we will remove that, and let's go. Um, let's see if you can get this one. If I'm going to talk 1.618, what's the other level that I like to use in relation to that?
It would be 2 because of the
Yeah.
parking garage.
And yeah, I like to call that the parking garage. So you can see there is sort of a range. And you could even make the argument, it's kind of tough to see. And a lot of new people to trading won't see this, but you could make the argument that this is actually a head and shoulders here. So that's a shoulder, that's the head, there's the neckline, there's the shoulder, and breakout. So if we have a situation like that, then we can draw our extension levels off of this range, and basically a replication of this range, right? If we go, say, from here to here, if we just do nothing more than replicate this range, which is the way the markets like to move, they like to move in sort of stair-step fashion.
Got the A to B,
Notice
C to
then that
D.
will take us right into 200%. So 2.618, you can see him floating out there as an objective. 0.618, 200% parking garage. There's 1.618. And actually, when I did those videos for you guys, I had pointed out that This inverted head and shoulders was painting an objective up in this area. I think I also did an inverted head and shoulders off of this range. So something like that. And that means that we could take this range here and there. Let's maybe make that yellow. And that's also an extension target. So that was up into there. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this actually lined up nicely with the 38.2. So we've had a bunch of technical objectives. Yeah. So you can see
You
how
got an eye
this,
for that, Brian.
pardon me?
You've got an eye for it. You
Well,
can
I've been
just
doing
see that.
this a
You're like,
couple years. I don't know. I suppose some of this stuff is finally rubbing off on me. I'll tell you though, the kids are trying to teach me how to trade DeFi and Solana and all that. And oh my goodness, and using ledgers and oh god, try to teach an old dog new tricks. It's like pulling teeth. Anyway, trying to just get this all to line up here, and of course I'm probably messing it up. But anyway, you get the idea. Uh, where the hell did that study go? There it is. I think the video that I did for you guys, I said let's keep an eye on 1.618 to 200%. I need to stretch this out. Just give me a second here. Where is the little bubbly? Oh well, I'm just totally eyeballing this. Hey, there we go. Is that gonna move? Nope. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Anyway, so you can see we had technical objectives up in this area. That's gonna drive me crazy if I don't get this fixed. um, we had inverted head and shoulders. So as you can see, we hit this 38.2, and that's what we often call the first stop target. So this was sort of a no-brainer that it had to sort of trade to that level. Then also too, if we do the Foggenbaum, do I have the Foggenbaum already on here? Yeah, that's what this one is, eh? Let's clone that. So if you actually just do a measurement, and this will really test you. Do you remember what the second Foggenbaum key level is? Remember what that
that
was?
4.669,
Right on. And then the third key Foggenbaum level,
8 something,
877. So
877.
4.669, and then we'll throw on. It's in here somewhere. Nope, that's not it. There it is down there.
And then
So we had there's a 4669 floating out there that needed to get hit. Wow, look at that, 877 all the way up top. Although that does not look right. That's way too big. Something's not right about that. Anyway, it and that's not really helping. I'm sure a lot of people are looking at this going, "What the hell is he doing?" Anyway, we're having a bunch of technical objectives hit. And I thought just, I'll show you this because I tweeted it out. I'm sure you guys probably saw it. Maybe it didn't. Maybe it did. But I did up a chart probably a week or so ago. And you
up.
notice, let's see if I can
It
find
says
it here.
live on that last page. It said live on right there. Dogecoin 10th birthday. Happy
Ah,
birthday,
interesting.
Dogecoin.
You notice that the previous cycle, this is the 2015 cycle. So
Hmm.
you see how the market ran up into 0.618 before the halvening. There's the halvening there. Um, the last cycle, we went just straight line shooting straight up to 0.618, and then there was the halvening there. So here we are. This year, I think is looking more like this, eh? Where we had this big plop, then consolidation, and then push up just prior to the halvening event. Well, there's the halvening event there. So big push up, big consolidation, then the second push up. And my question here is, can we not hit the 618 here before this halvening event? And I got a funny feeling that that's where we're headed. 48,000 and change. Also, too, I think I've talked to you about this before. Yeah, let's get rid of all this stuff so you're not utterly and completely confused. Um, if we let's go like that. There we go. So nice and simple. There's that 618. You often hear about liquidity pools. You ever heard that expression before? Liquidity
Yes, sir.
pools. So, if I was trading futures contracts, I would draw a horizontal line, and you can do that right off of that high right there. And have you ever heard me use the expression look left? You probably heard me say that once or
Yes.
twice.
Yes.
So if
Look,
we look at
does
a
it look left
weekly,
for visual evidence of where the institution stopped?
exactly. So as you can see, when we broke out of this inverted head and shoulders pattern that I drew on the chart right here, and of course, I showed you the DI, it turned uber bullish through here on our website, right? That was this image.
Okay.
And our algo also turned up basically at that point as well, right through there. Um, at that point, what you probably should do is look left. And can you see how, the breakout was from this high here? There's like almost nothing stopping the market till we got to this point. And what do we call these guys here? Do you remember those? That
The
comment?
that is it's not a hammer. Is that a shooting star?
It's a shooting star, but those are a whole bunch of trap bulls, right? The guys
Oh,
that
trap
bought
bulls,
there,
yes.
and then the market just collapsed following that. So those would be a lot of people that would be motivated to clean up the trade. And we even just went blowing right through that. So the next logical stopping point has got to be this high.
Okay.
And notice how, inverted head and shoulders, that's 200%. That's up into that area. And there's our buddy 0.618 Mountain Man. So put it all together, I think we have a very high probability of trading up into this level. 48,200 and change. And then, interestingly enough, if you think like inverted head and shoulders, same sort of logic that we had here and the same logic we had here, well, does it not reason then? Then maybe what we're going to do is like a pull back here to there, to there, to there, to there, to there, and make a really big head and shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is, what do you think the odds are that if we did a fib from this high here back down to this low, that's probably right around like, 38.2 to 50%.
Probably pretty high.
There is, actually, that's going backwards. Let's flip that around. Boom, boom, boom. 38.2, there we go. And let's reverse that. Oof, there we go. So you can see how the market, just as we should have expected a bounce off of the bottom back to 38.2s as first stop target, sort of your natural dead cat bounce level. And you notice we went right up into there and then we had to do some back and forth here. My hunch is we're going to rally up into this horizontal support and resistance level, and then we'll have to back off and do a little bit of cleaning up here. So the question is, are there any catalysts? Is there any reason why this market's moving up like this right now? What do you think?
The Bitcoin ETF.
Yeah. Um,
And cleaning up some of the scum off the streets.
well, what are you? We're gonna fire all the banksters down in the states. Is that what you're saying? I don't think so.
Yeah.
The scum will always be in Wall Street, absolutely
Yeah.
guaranteed. The question here is, who owns the politicians? And if you own the politicians, then you're not scum. You're actually a fine, upstanding citizen.
Right.
So, the irony of it all is I actually have to tip my hat to a guy like CZ. I mean, that guy's smart as a whip. I would not want to go toe to toe against that guy. And interestingly enough, the Americans, of course, Fink, he wants to take over this space. And interestingly enough, like SBF, that guy was just a doofus. But notice, is CZ, is he going to do any jail time?
Not that we know of
No,
yet.
unequivocally no. It's an absolute
Yep.
no. And what's fascinating, you've probably heard me talk about a guy I respect in this space, Tyler,
Yeah.
over at Crypto
Chico.
Chico. And I
Yeah.
got to tell you, man, you ever want to get Tyler riled up? Talk to him about how cheeky CZ is. So it just goes to show that if you play the game correctly and you buy the right politicians, clearly SBF bought the wrong politicians. But CZ, he's going to get off scot free, and he was probably much, much more cheeky than SBF was, even at his worst. So um, I do find CZ, that guy is he is something to behold. It's quite remarkable to watch him in action. So anyway,
Yeah.
that's here nor there. Um, so there's your market state. Up, up, and away. Look left. We're through moving average resistance. We got a big technical objective, the fib coming up here. Whoops. And and we have a key horizontal support and resistance level. We've got AB equals CD, or actually, excuse me, inverted head and shoulder price objectives. I think the odds are heading up into this mountain man level here. I think is pretty good. So.
Gotcha.
Also, too,
Thank you.
this is
Oh,
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this will drive me crazy if I don't mention this to you. This is a price pattern that I've been watching like my whole career. I've never seen anybody ever talk about it in the marketplace. And I have no idea what the name is, but quite often you will see a market sort of consolidate, but making higher highs and higher lows through the consolidation. And so what ends up happening is you could almost consider this, it's like a cockeyed AB equals CD, where it looks something like there to there, and then the other side flares up there to there. And notice that also
no.
would take us up into that objective. But I've seen this pattern so many times over my career. Never heard anybody in the marketplace ever talk about it. I always talk on the site, what the hell should we name this pattern? And of course, we always have crazy sort of cheeky names that the site members give. But it's a fascinating price pattern that I never see anybody ever talk about in technical analysis. So
Interesting.
anyway,
Well, thank
that's
you for
further
pointing that
sort of
out.
anecdotal evidence that we're probably heading up into this area up here.
Gotcha.
So in the
Uh,
face of that, I mean, you want to see like, I mean, this is great. Bitcoin, 17,000 about a year ago, and here we are. We basically doubled. Um, while that's happening, I mean, we've got these crazy stories. This is
yeah,
one that I was telling you earlier that
you gotta click
um,
all.
doubled on me in just like a month.
You have to
Um,
click the all tab there under the 1 week.
yeah. And I'm trying to figure out how the hell I bang out a double on this thing. So anyway, it looks like a computer's thinking away. So just to show you
Is
what
that a
I'm sort of
local
doing in the
starter?
marketplace, if this loads, I'll show you what it looks like. Also too, at TRI we actually have a well, actually, here, let's finish off this thought. Oh, actually, that's probably not the one we want to look at. Whereas KuCoin probably has a pretty good price chart. So this is kind of a fun one that I picked up at the bottom, and this is a pretty good example of what I did a few cycles
Oh
ago.
wow.
I guess a couple cycles ago, where I would buy assets at the bottom end of their trading range, and then just simply just keep selling them as they double. You tell me. I mean, there's the Polo chart. Does that look like that's at the top of the range or it's at the bottom end of the
No,
range?
you're sitting pretty.
Yeah, so I'm long from down here, and you can see the W's. Should be pretty obvious why I'm long this, right?
Yep.
This actually is a different chart though, because this thing got all the way up into the
Yeah, see,
90s.
I'm looking, it's up at 71,
Yeah,
or it
so
should
I'm
be.
long from the 40 area. I guess I bought that breakout there. And yeah, there it is, 71 right now over on KuCoin. Probably also over on like the Asian markets. Yeah, there we go. So, that's what I do if you're watching these videos for the first time and you want to sort of, try and figure out why the hell I like playing this space. And I think you can all sort of see that that's a pretty interesting breakout level. I went and picked some up there. And right now, I'm having my challenges trying to bang out doubles in DeFi land, but I don't really have a hell of a lot to complain about. And as I showed you off of the weekly chart, are these stories near the end of the run or are they maybe just getting
Jeez.
started?
Um, I'd say it's got to cool off, but it's just getting like started. I mean, it's at
Yeah,
the end
I
of the
mean, I wouldn't
trading.
be surprised if we do actually have to. Ironically enough, if you wanted to buy this now, the buy level is probably just about exactly where I'm long from. So if we did like reloads on, if I was able to bang out a double on this thing, and that's just my own issues with where are you going to trade this stuff. But if I wanted to reload, had I did bang out a double, ironically enough, you can see Brian's favorite fib is basically exactly where I originally bought this thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if this thing tops out in here, then works its way back down, and I'll get an opportunity to reload back at the bottom again around 78.6s. So this is basically what I do in the marketplace day in, day out. Um, as well, too, we do have what's a good one to show you? Probably
Yeah, what was one that we had fun with here?
we have an analyst, in fact, TRI CTO, Chief Technology Officer, Sjord, who does fundamental research. So we have not only the portfolio of the little old lady stuff, just buying stuff off the bottom ends of the ranges, but we also actually invest some serious money, tens of thousands of dollars kind of idea on first go, looking for those 100Xs. Sjord, for anybody who doesn't not aware, Sjord identified Luna when it was 50 cents, and that thing ran up to over $100. So same sort of logic here. This is one of the names that he really likes, Rune, and you can see at $6.50 he's long from like 50 cents. So he's already got his 10x. The question is, and he's good at his craft. When I show him names like this, and he goes, "Yeah, okay, maybe they double," but I'm looking for the 100xer. I want that
You want to click the
100xer.
refresh button and just see if that.
There
Oh,
it
never
is.
mind.
So there you can see where we're long from and what this thing has done. That's a pretty big move, eh?
It's just kept going.
Yeah, so you can play the market from the little old lady perspective, and that's Brian's banging out doubles kind of ideas. Or, you can't buy that now,
No.
but TRI definitely has an arm where we have sort of fundamentally investable names that can go absolutely insane too. So we play sort of both sides of the market here. Fun little specs for those people that really don't want to overthink this stuff. Just buying against the bottom, bang out doubles as they come along. But we also have an arm of sort of investment grade, and I want to put some serious money to work. So take your pick. What do you feel like playing? Anyway,
Yeah.
um,
Uh,
so lots of, and we have, for whatever it's worth, we have been buying a lot of cryptocurrency over the past, I don't know, year. And I started back basically last. Actually, this doesn't even show it. This one actually I bought pretty recently. But well, actually, no, that's not true. I think I actually originally nibbled back off of this W over here about a year ago. And if anything, this is a really good example where, even if you nibble and it's a very low risk sort of trade, you can always go and add more because you're just nibbling. That's the old little old lady strategy. It's just I was lazy and I forgot to add to this guy down at the bottom here as well. Or my average cost would even be lower and I actually could sell half on a double at 71. But, it's here nor there. It's not that big of a
Yeah.
deal. Anyway, the point of the matter here is this is the year when you should be accumulating this stuff. And you saw the Bitcoin chart. We should do fairly well sort of into that halvening. But it's really after the halvening when this thing really starts getting going. So this is just the prelude.
We're just getting started, and I know we did have a handful of requests from the audience
All
tonight.
right, might as well
Um,
just jump right in. I mean, do you want to talk a little bit about a Coinigy or anything there before we get going? I was just sort of, I just started blabbing away there endlessly. Sorry.
no worries at all. No, it's cool. There actually was one that I wanted you to take a look at that when you had me do my fundamental research a couple months back, one that I had thrown at you was AVAX. And the reasoning of
What's the
why I was
symbol?
interested, AVAX, avalanche.
All right, and versus what, Tether?
Yeah, let's do to Tether. So it was designed to fix multiple issues found in most blockchain networks. Began
Well, yeah,
as
that's up 20% on the day.
yeah. So I've been
Oh,
watching this. I do have a little in this,
here's
and
Kraken. I don't know where you want to look at this one.
yeah, Kraken or Coinbase, let's say.
All right.
But then, so it combats centralization. It's a viable alternative for Ethereum. Their gas fees are significantly lesser than Ethereum's.
Well, maybe I should use Apex
Yeah,
then.
AVAX. Yeah, I mean that's a tough thing with Ethereum. Like during those, like when um all of those JPEGs and everything was popping off. I just couldn't get myself to buy some because I'm like, there is just ridiculous fees on these.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you should be able to, now that you've been doing this with me for a while,
Yeah. It's
you
on the
should be able to look at the chart and tell me exactly where you should be a buyer.
should have been at 15-ish once it broke that
Uh,
confirmation.
yeah, I mean, I think the double bottom is like
The
right
double
here, right?
bottom. Eight.
So on a
I
clothesline
didn't see
basis,
that
there's
one.
the double bottom, right? If I change that to a line chart, you see that W now?
Okay, now I can, yeah.
This is probably a really important level too, because notice that was previous support turned into resistance, broke through, and see you later.
Yep.
So you can't really buy something that
No.
looks like this right now. And this is the trap. This is how retail always loses money at this game. The sad part about it is most people, we'll use CoinGecko. Most people, they sort of finish their research, especially like technical, like at a stage like this.
Yeah.
And they go, well, hey, look, there's a W. All right, that's that Beamish guy. He says buy W's, I'll buy that. And keep in mind, this is just like an intraday little snapshot.
Yeah.
And they don't realize, and probably if we looked for AVAX on here, AVAX, it probably looks WE here on the intraday chart. Um, yeah, yeah, this is the intraday chart, right? And so somebody would look at this and go, well, there's a W, and that's what that Beamish
Yeah.
guy says. Buy W's, right? And come in here and buy this and think they're making a pretty good investment decision.
Yeah.
And
So look on the
yet,
week chart.
that's the chart you should be paying attention to. So, oh boy. There's two ways to play the market. You can play the market based on value, or you can play the market based on momentum. Now, we clearly outlined exactly where the value trade is.
Yeah.
Bottom end of the range. Look at this huge old tail, right? Beautiful.
Oh,
This will be like a weekly W. And I always tell all the students, brand new people to trading, the very first thing that you want to do is hunt for weekly W's. And if you can't see that, I'll change it to a line chart.
yeah. I see
Can
that
you
now.
see the weekly W?
Yep.
I mean, all of you, let's get some feedback from you guys over there on YouTube. Of course, most of you are already students of mine anyway.
Yeah.
Adam, what do you think?
That's a big old weekly
TBG.
W.
TBG actually is down in Bitcoin City, I think they call it. Down in El Salvador, I think it is. So actually, super excited. We might do a TRI meetup in February in
Cool.
Bitcoin Beach or Bitcoin City or something like that. Bitcoin Beach, there it is. So, if you happen to be in El Salvador in the middle of February, come and find us. We'll be the drunk guys on the beach, face down in a ditch.
On Bitcoin Beach.
All right.
That's
So, anyway,
awesome.
point of the matter here is we're not anywhere near value here.
Yeah.
This is not value investing at all. So, if you did want to play this, remember I said there's two types of investing. What was that? The
A
names?
little old lady.
No, no, no.
Oh.
There's value
Uh,
investing and
what was it?
momentum.
All momentum. Yes. As a
So this
brain
would
fart.
be a momentum trade here. And do you remember what is the setup that I like to use to trade momentum markets?
Is that the bot?
Yeah, so we can draw, let's go, I don't know, off of that kilo. That looks like probably a pretty significant pivot. Kind of went just straight up from there, right? And the bot wants to see at least a 33% correction, but no more than a 66%. And if you can't see 33, then you're going to have to adjust your fibs until you do see it to try and figure out what the range is that this thing's working off of. So there's 33 and there's 66. I mean, this is a tutorial on how to trade the bot, folks. So maybe bookmark this and come back and refer to this later on. Actually, interesting in the futures. Can you guys plot the Bitcoin futures on here yet?
No, we can't.
There's an interesting
Well, we have
gap.
Binance futures, but
An interesting
can't
gap
trade them.
theory example on the Bitcoin futures right now. Anyway, all right. So if I was botting this, um, yeah, and what I mean by bot is I want to think trend continuation. And what's the harmonic pattern that is associated with this? Can you remember?
Let's see. And A to B, C to D.
AB equals CD.
A B equals CD. Yeah.
So that means that my objective is hopefully you can. In fact, actually, I think there's even a tool here. Where is it? Yeah, there it is. A, B, C, D. The harmonic people like AB equals CD, but we won't get nitpicky, will we? Anyway, so there is the AB equals CD. That is a harmonic, and this is actually what's called a potential reversal zone up here.
Okay.
So for God's sakes, don't go and buy an asset up here. That's just asking for trouble.
Noted.
But anyway, how would I trade this anticipated momentum move? I break the C to D leg into. Do you remember what do I break this into?
The 0, 25, 50, and 66.
All right, so I like to break it into quarters. So 25% will be sort of my risk window. So of course you have to have it drawn the right direction. So reverse that. So there is 25% of that anticipated move. So I'm going to look to try and enter somewhere around that level. Here, let's do this. And do you see what letter of the alphabet is this? Down, up, down, breakout. What do we call that?
A W.
All right. Does Brian like W's?
He loves W's.
Right. So you could make the argument that if you just bought the W, and you can see there's a number of opportunities you could have gotten in here. This was 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. Hell, even this fifth day here, you
Mm-hmm.
could have gotten filled at that level, right? That high right there, that's the buy level. So that's 2190. So that's where I'd want to enter. I'm going to risk to a break of this low, which is 1850. And that's roughly 25% of this anticipated move. And I'm going to look to take profits up at the, what did we call this thing?
Um,
PRZ, potential
oh, the
reversal
potential
zone.
reversal zone.
So this, in essence, creates about a 3-to-1 risk-reward ratio. But what this does imply is that if we break through these lows on the initial breakout here and it fails, and this thing just rolls over, you have to walk away and declare defeat if we break through this low.
Gotcha.
And you can see that's not what happened here, is it? Interestingly enough, at 50% of the anticipated move, which is right there, that's breaking this into halves, I officially get permission to move your stop to that 25 level. And it's just the rules of the actual setup. And interestingly enough, in this case, because we bought a little bit below the 25, if this thing does come back down to the 25 level, I'd walk away. And there's just an absolute minuscule profit. But what the hell? Making a couple bucks is better than losing a couple bucks, eh? So hopefully you can see the double bottom level right there. Now I'm a bit of a chicken poop by nature. So I actually
Mm.
like to see 3 lows to risk against. And that's actually why I kind of like this. Because I think you could say, well, this is a key low right there. This is a key low right there. And this is a key low here. And what I'm going to do if I see these 3 lows here is I'm going to does it make sense that somebody somewhere came in and said, you know what, you're going to stop going down and you're going to actually start going up now. Right here. You see
Mm-hmm.
that?
Yeah.
In fact, what do we call all these people in here that sold in here or even shorted in that tail? What do we call them?
Would those be trapped bears?
Very good. So if anything, if price does come back down into here, they're all going to scramble to try and get out of those crappy shorts, eh?
Mm-hmm.
If they didn't already get stopped out. But so I've got to let these guys defend their trade. I'm going to let these guys here, same story. It's a bunch of trap bears in there. They would love to get released. So I'm going to let them defend that level. And we also have these guys down here. Same thing. And I will risk on the trade to the market going down against this bottom here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So that way I let all of these people all defend my trade. You could even argue that since we have bullish market structure, W's, you could make the argument that actually that is a valid trend line now. So as long as price doesn't break this, and actually price could even break this line, and it would still be an uptrend. What we really don't want to see if we're bulls is we don't want to see the market put in bearish structure below that line. Let's see, do we have that drawing tool here? Oh, interesting. It's funny how TradingView gives you some trading. Oh, there it is. There. Okay. So, believe it or not, we could actually even see this market come right back to that line as support. And sometimes it'll even put in a W off of that, and that's actually another buy signal. But what we really don't want to see is you don't want to see the market come below this level
Okay.
and then put in like bearish structure below. That would be a sign that the trend is over.
Okay.
But you can see, holy moly, do we ever have a lot of wiggle room here now, eh?
Yeah.
So, this is a really good example where if you understand the way markets work and this whole idea of higher highs and higher lows, and really these are the key points that actually define the bull market, then if you actually come in and buy up here, what you really, I mean, just as I showed you a moment ago, you have to be able to handle the market coming all the way back down here. You have to
Hmm.
be able to handle that. And so that means like, okay, I buy this thing at $26, and the most recent key support that would actually even just define that this thing is not a bull anymore is what is that low there? 21. So 26 to 21, basically like a 20-30% easily, the market could easily pull back that at
Yeah.
any given point in time. So this is why it's so dangerous to chase, because you're probably going to get your head handed to you.
Yeah.
So the momentum trade here, uh, what did I say we're allowed to do if we hit 50%
Um,
of the bot?
that- of the bot, see, scratch it 50%.
Yeah, move your stop to scratch.
Yeah. Okay.
So at this
I was
point, if
reading my
this
notes.
actually did start to crap out here and start to come back down, I would just walk away at scratch. So
Okay.
what? Don't lose any money. At 66%, which is a little bit higher, once we get to this point, then my model, this particular setup, it says that I'm allowed to start locking in profits. So right now, if I was long this name, I would
Mm.
still have you would see on paper, I would be up this green shaded area. Um, my stop would be basically at scratch, so I wouldn't lose any money if this thing did fail here. If we can get up into the 29 area, then I have permission to start locking in profits. You could use things like a close below moving average to stop you out. There's nothing wrong with that. You could use the three high low method. I explained to you why I like three higher lows to let these guys defend my trade. So as we were making higher lows, you can move your stop up accordingly. You could use things like ATR, which I don't think we've ever talked about here
I
with
don't think
you,
so.
as a way to manage risk. But the point of the matter here is right now I would be long this momentum trade. On paper, I would be up. My stop would be at just a little bit above where I entered because remember, I bought the W here.
Hmm.
And I would be thinking about an ultimate price objective here of 34.50, 34 and a half, somewhere up in that area. What's also interesting about this is sometimes these AB equals CDs can turn into what are called alt AB equals CDs. And the alt AB equals CDs targets are 127.2 all the way up to 1.618. Remember, there's our golden ratio again. So that means, and if you want to be like a little bit more savvy of a trader, if I was just trading this pattern on its own and the setup on its own, I would have what's called an AOCO order working.
Hmm.
And that just simply AOCO. Oops. AOCO. That stands for automatically order cancels order. I would just have a full sell order at this AB equals CD level, and then all my stop orders and all them would just automatically be canceled. No reason why you can't what I call spoon feed the market. So you could let some go at the ABCD target, then maybe have an order to sell some more at the 127, and have an order to sell some more at 1.618. If you get filled on all three, then your average selling price is somewhere up in that area, which isn't bad. And that's predicated on some horrific blow off top event. And sadly, who do you think is going to be coming in and buying up top there?
People who are sleeping on the couch. Or wait, no, the
Well, they
institution.
might potentially
The
be
public.
sitting on the couch or sleeping on the couch. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, sleeping on the couch.
What I would just simply say is this would be this would be the public coming
Yeah.
in and FOMO buying. You ever heard that expression before?
Oh
FOMO?
yeah.
All right, so the public coming in and FOMO buying the top of the market, and they're notorious for that. And I mean, does the public make money at trading? No. So it shouldn't shock you. Hopefully, what ends up happening, Joe, is, and this is what happens to a lot of my students, is if I trained you correctly and I teach you correctly, you really won't be able to talk about investing and playing the market with the public ever again, because they just won't understand that everything that they do is incredibly cliche, and it's why the public always loses money at this game. So anyway, point of the matter here is up top here, I'd be ringing the register and taking profits.
Beautiful.
So if you go and talk to your buddies and tell them about AVAX right now, is this a value trade that's happening right now?
No.
Or is it a momentum trade?
Momentum.
All right. That's
All
really where you just leave the conversation with the public and just say, look, you're coming way too late. I mean, you see exactly where the weekly W's are down here. If you are playing this, great. You better know how to trade. You better understand how to about risk management. You better understand about managing stops. Because keep in mind, somebody could sneeze. I heard today that the country of Iran is officially suing the United States of America for the assassination of one of their officials to the tune of something like $80 billion or some crazy ass number. We might just have World War III break out tomorrow. You don't know. You can't write better fiction than reality in this world. So if you're going to come and play a market like this, you better know what you're doing, because I would imagine a lot of the public, they'll just buy this, and then if this thing starts rolling over, they'll ride it all the way back down to, ironically enough, if Brian was going to do a value investment here, what's the tool that I've taught you that I would recommend that we do right now?
Value investment.
3 letters. First letter starts with an R. First letter starts with an R and ends with an R. It is an R.
The reload zone?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying like it was.
Remember our value investing?
Yes.
Right, we want to try and buy the bottom ends of ranges. That's the whole point of the reload zone concept.
Yes. Where
would institutional players reload following a big rally? And you know that as we start with Mountain Man. Where's Mountain Man? We have 78.6. What's that called? And actually, in the school program, we call it the line in the sand. Fib. But it's also, I've been calling it lately, Brian's favorite fib. Also, 88.6 is a really cool fib to have on here to sort of identify reload zones. There is 88.6. So why don't we'll just do, throw Mountain on here too. Where's good old Brandon? Kind of my eyesight's
Roll
going.
up.
There he
There.
is. And then let's reverse that. So you can see where you're supposed to be long if you're a value
Yeah.
investor. And look where 88.6 is right now. So the irony of it all is that, if you were long from the right place here, $10, would it not make sense that maybe you sell half on a double at 20?
Yeah.
Get yourself a risk-free trade. If you bought at 10, sold half of the position at 20, got all your original money back, how much risk do you have on being an owner of this thing?
0.
Isn't that a pretty good way to play the
That's
market?
a pretty damn good way, Brian.
I mean, this is the way the professionals do this game. So it
Yeah.
shouldn't really surprise us that we actually ran into resistance around this 20 area because all
Hmm.
the people that bought here, the professionals, they were selling into this rally, establishing those risk free trades. Um, Ironically enough, if I was just going to look at this from a value perspective and say, you know what, the momentum trade's just way too risky. I don't want to take the chance of getting stopped out. I don't like chasing up markets. Well, they just throw their order in to buy the original position right back down. And you get, interesting enough, you can even see there's the 200 period moving average. It's sitting right at Brian's favorite fib. Do you think that's an
Hmm.
accident? I
Nope.
don't. So the point of the matter here is that there's your value buy window. Right now, we're just trading purely on momentum. And the
Yeah.
irony of it all is that there was a story that I got you. I mean, there's another name that looks almost exactly identical to this. What is it? And that
That's
we talked about at length. It looks almost exactly identical to
that
this.
loom
No. Um, what was it? It was Link, right?
link. Oh yeah.
And
Link
I
is
even
way
think
up there.
I conned you into actually buying some of this,
You
didn't
got
I?
some, yeah. I was just pulling it up.
Oops. And I mean, we can. Have we talked AVAX into the ground here?
Yes, sir. Let's move on. We got a couple others that we got some requests from the audience for, but we can take a look at link
All
here.
right. Let's see. Is under maybe favorites? Um,
Let's just try and check.
do 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 do. Where's the? Does that mean system status? I'm good here,
That
right?
means you're
It's
good. I
okay.
think it's just the Brave browser and having so many tabs open there. We
Yeah.
run into this issue. We tried to switch over to Google Chrome before today, but
I couldn't
didn't
remember
have
my login.
quite enough time before. So we'll have to, between now and our next one, we'll have to give it a shot.
Oh
But
goodness.
got to click on all there, maybe. That
That's it, isn't it? So that seems to be responding. Uh, Maybe we're not supposed to look at this.
yeah. Um,
I know if I sometimes just open up a
yeah.
new
I was
window.
gonna say a couple others that we had suggest from the audience were Dot and then Rose
All
and then
right. Dot USDT.
yes.
And where do we want to look at this?
Take a look on Coinbase.
Coinbase. That one there.
Right there. Yep.
Yeah. Coming a little bit late to the story.
Even for a little old lady.
Oh yeah, definitely way too late for a little old
Yeah.
lady. Um, what I see here is this. This looks like Head and Shoulders, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a cute little entry here. Now, remember we said, buys down at the bottom end of the range. That's your value trade.
Mm-hmm.
And can you see how this looks like it's
Oh
botting
yeah.
out here?
Yep.
So there to there, and then we'll go, what do we say, 33 to 66, like so. So there, and it's always backwards. Anyway, hopefully you can see how this momentum trade is setting up here. So we did 33. We didn't go beyond 66. Then we project that off of the lows. Nice. What do we call these two-bar pattern that looks like this, where he's straight down, then
Railroad
straight up.
railroad
So
tracks.
really good looking floor there. And then you have one low, two lows. Do you see how this is a cute little W right there?
Yeah.
So three lows. So if we throw on bot levels, my hunch is 25 probably lines up nicely with those. So 25, 50, and 66. And of course, it's always backwards. So let's go like that. And oh, yeah, what a surprise. Look at that. So do you see how this consistently happens over and over? Right? That last
Yeah.
one that we showed you? It's
Yeah.
basically exactly the same thing. This AVAX, see how the double bottom sets up right off that 25 level?
Hmm.
I don't think it's not an accident. And I wanted to show you the link because the link looks exactly the same. So let's just I'll try and load this in the background here while we're oh there okay, it loaded pretty quick. All right, so can you see one low, two lows, three lows, the W here? And
Yeah.
interestingly enough, this one's just basically sitting right at that bot entry level. Anyway, back to your dot here. Um, it's pretty straightforward. Once, ironically enough, once you actually get used to drawing and seeing these bot setups, you'll see them everywhere. Um, and as I've said before, if I've done my job as a good teacher, you really won't be able to look at the market the same way
Yeah.
as you have the rest of your life. So, A to B, C to D. I think that's pretty straightforward. I mean, this could be a little bit tighter. Nice double bottom, one low, two lows, three lows. In fact, you could even argue this is a bit of a cup and handle right there.
Okay.
We zipped up to 50% level, so that means I could move my stop to where?
To scratch.
Right? So if this thing did crap out here, should I lose any money on this trade?
No.
Right. Well, and that's important, right? You should say,
Yeah.
no, damn it. Right?
No.
That's in trading, it is really, really easy to lose money. I mean, just ask the public. How
Yeah.
do they do at this game? I probably sound like a broken record. Anyway, point of the matter here is just getting to the point where your trading system says you officially are not allowed to lose money on this trade anymore. That's a big objective.
Yeah.
So, and based on this bot level, you should be able, I don't know whether you can see my screen or not, but where
Hmm.
should you be ringing the register?
So on this bot level, once it gets to
Let's change that to white. Maybe you can see that a little bit better now. There we go. Where should you be ringing the register?
at 713.
Right. So right now we're at six and change. Um, if you wanted to take all profits here at 713, I would not fault you. It's a conservative way to play the market. And then we said that if there is a subsequent move higher, what are the levels that you should be looking for?
If it's higher on a bot trade, I don't
Is
know.
the alt AB equals CD levels?
I don't know if that
127.2 and 1.618. So if you
one.
wanted to spoon feed the market and just sort of walk your way out of the trade, let some go at 713, let some more go at 778, let some more go
Okay.
at 8.5.
That makes more sense now.
And interestingly enough, yeah, so you can see the bot ABCD objective is actually just nothing more than this market wants to go up and test these old highs. So it's kind of a fun, and actually this is cool because as we zoom out further, yeah, you can see there's a long way to go on this thing. So what's and I don't know whether this is the best place to look at this asset. Jesus, this thing's got a long way to go. Let's use that level. What should be sort of our knee-jerk, keep it simple, stupid, fib level that
The
we should
reload
always
zone.
think that markets ought to retrace back to?
It's the first stop target,
That's yep. And then Mr. WD
38.2,
Gann, what's his favorite level?
50%.
Right. So I always like to draw on that 38.2, 38.2 to 50% level. Interesting. One of our site alum, he likes to call it his pump chaser and dump chaser zone. So it's interesting how 38.2, just off of this range alone, is actually all the way up there at $11. And also, too, this is kind of cool. Can you see how, we said look left. So notice there is the bot objective. So kind of like remember we said on Bitcoin. Do you see how this is going to be a key pivot there?
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be a key pivot, and this is going to be a key pivot. You could like what I tell our level 2 course people who we do a full module on horizontal support and resistance, and we call this tricking out your charts. So you just throw on a whole bunch of these levels all in here. So now you can see, remember that same look left concept with Bitcoin, that if we could clear through this high here, look left, the next key high is right there. And oh, gee whiz, what a
Yeah.
coincidence. That's basically this bot target. You see
Yeah.
that? Right into there.
Spot
So
on.
my hunch is that we're probably going to run into some serious traffic right around this 7.5 area. That would be my guess. Anyway, we'll see. And then also too, kind of like you saw this inverted head and shoulders. If we do actually rally up into that level, you can kind of see how this is going to be like left shoulder, neckline, head, back to neckline, shoulder, go. Can you see that huge fractal there?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think's happening here, and this kind of makes sense because I think we have our rally into sort of that pre-halvening event. And on balance, this is going to take some time to actually roll over and fail. I would, if I was a betting man, I would say that we're heading up in this area before we're heading down. Now, I don't really like to get into the business of predicting the future. The market will just do whatever hell it wants to do. But I would say on balance, I do like the idea that we are pushing higher here. We're probably going to run into some resistance around here. And then when I sort of drew out that massive inverted head and shoulders, then if we start thinking like, okay, some sort of resistance level up in this area, let's just throw on maybe just like a window. Let's do it sort of around this area. So that's basically February through to April.
Mm-hmm.
Is anything supposed to happen in this crypto space around April?
The Bitcoin halving.
Right. And then usually what happens following the halvening, there's usually a bit of a hangover. And I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if the altcoin space, I wouldn't even be surprised if you see how we went up, down, up. I wouldn't be surprised if we go up, down, up like that. You see how
Uh-huh.
that's kind of like a mirror image?
Yeah.
And that's the fractal nature of the universe. I mean, ironically enough, you want to know how markets move? They move like the Canadian
The
maple
maple
leaf.
leaves with fractals.
This is the way nature operates. So, if you just want to see this head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it, concept in nature, well, there it is, right? You can see head and shoulders, head and shoulders, head and shoulders, and all three of them make a massive head and shoulders. This is just the way the universe works. So I think that we're probably going to do something like that. And there's your maple leaf if you can sort of use your imagination a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there you go. What do you
Yeah.
think? Is that a half decent analysis?
A great analysis. Thank you. I appreciate that.
No, you're
Um,
welcome.
we had another one.
That and
It's,
50 cents will buy you a cup of coffee. Not anymore. That and $5 will buy you a cup of coffee.
yeah.
Thanks, democratically elected politicians destroying our society.
We do have another one called Rose, and Rose to USD. Uh,
Rose
it's
USD. So
on
versus
Coinbase.
actual money.
Yeah, top one.
Coinbase?
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
just see. They seem to be doing well for
Oh,
us.
geez.
Nope. Yeah, that's high.
I mean, again, the irony of this game is what I'm trying to teach you. Can you see? Look at this incredible little W down in there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had just gone and bought that W, oh my goodness. Oh
Like,
my goodness. Oh my damn. Oh my
yeah.
goodness. There goes the ham.
I
You ever seen that video?
don't think so. You'll have to
I should
send
send
it
it
to
to
me
you. We haven't got that
for
much
another
time, so I
time.
don't want to waste time. Anyway, I'll send it to you
Yeah.
after we're done. So, I mean, these are the kind of trades that'll make you
Yeah.
rich, right?
Adam says Rose is liked by Crypto Chico. Wait until reload zone.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is look at this, right? If you had just drawn a fib, don't chase, don't chase, don't goddamn chase, right? And just done your fib back against the low and done your reload zones, then you probably would have saved yourself a lot of headache here, right? Or heartache or
Yeah.
whatever. And especially consider that this is venture cap. I do like for venture cap to concentrate on that 78.6 to 88.6 level. And look at what happened here. Down, up, down, breakout. I mean,
Yeah.
like literally right off that 78.6. Do you think that's an accident? I don't.
Nope.
If you want to get really fancy, notice down here, look at this. What's this letter of the alphabet? And this looks exactly the same as this. But look at this. I mean,
Yeah, it's a
Jesus,
nice
this is
clear
so
W.
textbook. Down, up, down, breakout. You see that W?
Yeah.
And that's like literally, I mean, this is why I like to call the 78.6 the line in the sand. Because usually what ends up happening in the markets is the market will give back, again, who's buying up here?
Those sleeping on the couch, the public.
Yeah. Um, and, if you can't prevent yourself from chasing, you're going to get your head handed to you in this game. So you have to learn how to use reload zones. And then if you want to, some people would just be like, you know what? I'm just going to throw in some stink bids. Maybe I'll throw in a stink bid at Mountain. I'll throw in another stink bid at 78.6. Throw in another stink bid at 88.6. That's predicated on if you can actually work open orders. And of course, that's where I'm running into a lot of trouble with DeFi and Ethereum gas fees and all that crap. On Coinbase, you should be able to work open orders. There's no reason why you couldn't do that there. Um, Other people, and this is really a function of how much anxiety you can live with.
Hmm.
Other people are kind of like, Brian, I don't want to take a chance until I actually see. And what did we say was the absolute magic ingredient that if you see this, I say that all new students, this is the number one thing you want to look for. Do you remember what that was? I said it earlier in the broadcast.
Three, like three
Weekly.
weekly W's.
That's right. So if we change this to a weekly chart, notice there it is.
Ah,
So it's really a question of your sort of anxiety level. If you're kind of like, you know what, I need to see that this damn thing looks solid and it's going to rock and roll, or I don't want to touch it. Other
mm-hmm.
people are like, yeah, you know what, I'll work stink bids. Like Mountain Man, this is a guy that I used to trade futures with, and he would do this in crude oil. He would buy this, and then he would be selling on this rally up here. And knowing that, he'd have his stop at scratch, and if we came back down here, he'd walk away from whatever he still had on the books on this event here. Some people can trade like that. Others, it's a little bit more difficult. You want to sort of keep this as simple as possible. Change your analysis to the weekly charts and just hunt the W's. Where are the W's? Can you see this weekly W here? If I
Yeah.
change this to a line chart, you probably see it a lot better. Look at that. Oh, look at that. That's
Yep.
crazy. But interestingly enough, if you were chicken shit and you were like, I want to see weekly W's, you would have missed this trade. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's sort of like live by the sword, die by the sword. You know, it's nothing's ever going to be 100% in this game. We're statisticians. But if you want to try and make the anxiety as least as possible, then just hunt these weekly W's. So I think with and remember based on what I said earlier with regard to buying at the bottom end of the range, buying weekly W's, what would we call this trade here?
Uh, the beautiful entry point.
Starts with a V.
The D.
There were two types
Uh,
of trades. You can trade this and you can trade momentum. So what was
oh,
this?
value. The value.
That's buying value. Simple
I
as
thought you
that.
said. I thought you said D, as in
V.
like David.
All right. So anyway, point of the matter here is there's your W. That's your weekly bottom, right down against the bottom end of the range. Reload zones. That's your value trade. Right
Gotcha.
now, this thing's trading purely on momentum. And I suppose you could probably actually map out this bot. Doesn't look like it's set up very well though, so this would have been tricky. But if you were trading the market on momentum and you wanted to try and sneak in halfway through the move, then we want to try and find a market that did 33%, but no more than 66, which you can see it's done. Then we want to replicate this and we want to project that up top. So that's there to there. And then we do our 25, 50, and 66. So something along those lines. And reverse that around. And yeah, this one would have been difficult. Remember, what did we call these two candle pattern right here?
Railroad.
So can you see how this is a railroad tracks right off that bottom?
Yeah.
That would have been tricky, right? You had one low, you had two lows, you had to pull the trigger on the railroad tracks. Some people can do that. Other people are like, man, that's a little bit beyond my pay grade. This is an interesting one where you can see move stop to scratch level, 50% was hit. Move stop to trailing level was hit. And look what happened right after we hit that move stop to trailing level. Remember, you can actually go and lock in profits once we hit that 66. If I change this to a line chart, what letter of the alphabet does
Nice.
that look like?
Pretty M.
Isn't that incredible? So
Yeah.
pretty well defined. If I was like trading this on momentum and I was a little bit skittish and I was a little bit, like, hey, I just made a bunch of money. I bought the railroad tracks. It wasn't really the prettiest bottom. And we went zipping straight up here and I'm getting a little antsy. I wouldn't have a problem if you just said, you know what, that I'm out of here. I want to hop. And other people, they say, we could use moving average close. So you can see we closed below this moving average. That might be another reason to hop. You could use 3 high-low method, but that would mean we busted one low, then the second low's here. So the 3 high-low method people, they would still have their stop at scratch. Anyway, you shake it. This thing's looking a little tired. We could go and look at the indicators. Let's see what they're suggesting. Are we supposed to be
Really,
thinking anything if we see
really getting stupid.
RSI making
Oh,
a lower high? That's not a really very good chart. And let's
yes.
see if you can read my mind here. So
We're
there's
talking about
RSI
divergence.
looking like that. So, and there is price looking like that. And actually, it did the same thing on MACD, didn't it?
Divergence.
So that's a bit concerning, eh? Um, does Brian say anything about if this indicator here, this heavily modified Williams percentage R, if your blue line, and if you want to make it easy, we can just minimize the yellow line. We don't even need to see that. If this blue line here gets above the -20 level, what does Brian sort of label this as?
Because it's getting stupid.
Yeah. And does it, and as a retail broker, this is, of course, is when my phone's ringing because the clients want to buy, they want to chase, and I have
Yeah.
to somehow try and convince them not to.
Yeah.
So, market stupidly overbought. RSI is in wicked divergence here.
Yeah.
MACD has a potential divergence working. We haven't really broken down in earnest here. Volume is okay, but I really don't like when I see M's in OBV like this. So
Okay.
that's got to be a little concerning. And somebody's doing a bit of selling here, aren't they?
I would say so.
So I think that there's an old expression in the market. Caution is sometimes the better part of valor. I don't know if you've ever heard that expression before.
Okay.
But this would be one where I'd be kind of like, do I have to be married to this thing? Should I just, if I bought the railroad tracks and I take profits at that double top breakdown level there and just call it a day? If I was quote unquote trading this, I think I would probably lean in that camp. Doesn't necessarily mean it can't go up to the bot level, but this is starting to look a little risky. And then if I actually did want to invest, right, I'm just going to throw on my reload zone. And what do you think the odds are? Reload zone is basically right back down against the original bottom.
Pretty high.
Yeah. Usually when I ask that question, the answer is pretty good odds. So there's
Third one down. There you
78.6,
go.
and then let's flip it around, and lo and behold, look how that lines up.
Yeah.
So you can see where the value trade is. That's exactly where the value traders are going to come back in.
So
Now, oh, do you want
I
to
was
say
going to say,
something?
kind of piggybacking off of that, Max in the audience asked, given the market ripping, what would your advice be moving forward? Obviously, we can look left to see where value was as hindsight's 2020. What's the next move for those who's missed this rally?
Well,
Financial advice.
two options. Remember, we said what is it we initially do if we're thinking momentum trade? We want to get in on the momentum.
You are looking left.
No, we want to
No.
draw out bot levels.
Oh, yes, the bots.
So
And then
what
they
I would
also
say at
asked,
this point, and here's our bot, right? 33.66. So if this is a trend continuation trade and you want to trade this purely on momentum, I would let the market consolidate a bit. And the market has to trade back to a minimum of 33 and no more than 66, right?
mhm,
So that would mean that this thing sort of comes down and then starts to put in three higher lows. Let's try and do that a little bit better. Somewhere between 33 and 66. So
okay.
if I was like, I want to get in on the momentum move, I still think this thing's going higher. But do you see how what this would do, 33 to 66, is all we're going to do is we're just going to come right back down against these lows. And in an interesting way, whoever asked that question, look left, you can tell this is where key support on the chart is right now, all these lows here, right? This is where somebody came along and said, stop going down, you go up, right? And that's the only point really on the price chart that matters. So hopefully you can see how that would play out. Now, for the little bit more advanced trader, you're kind of like, well, yeah, okay, maybe I'm going to hop off on this bigger bot, but I kind of think that this thing's going to turn back up sharply because there's a big fundamental event maybe coming down the pike here. There's no
Hmm.
reason why you couldn't, but this is a bit more advanced, probably not for most of this audience. There's no reason why you couldn't start hunting a bot off of this range from that low, because remember we said that was a pretty important psychological pivot there, back up to this level. So you can see 33, 66, and the entire move. Notice we have corrected 33% here. So at this point, I want to start hunting for three higher lows to get me in on the trend continuation trade, where I'm thinking that this here to here is the A to B of an AB equals CD that takes us up to the original bot target. Do you see that?
Yeah.
So, I'm chicken shit by nature. So I see that this is an M, and I'm kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to hop off. Quite often in trading, what you'll see happen is the market will, maybe there's a rumor that these guys are going to go under. Maybe there's a rumor there was a big seller. There was one coin last cycle where the CEO came out and said, stay long, stay long, stay long. This is life-changing events. This is going to be the best thing you've ever seen in your life. And then there was news, like literally the next day, that all of the people, all of the developers, all the people inside the coin were all selling in unison. I mean, how embarrassing is that? So you don't know what the hell's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But quite often, what you'll see in the market is the market will top out. Then it will sort of shrug off all of that bearishness and actually go and bottom out. And you see that the buy signal actually comes in almost exactly where the sell signal was. That happens a lot. So if somebody is sort of like, okay, I missed the first momentum move. I still think we're heading up higher here. What do I do now? My answer to you is draw out your bot levels. Make sure that you've had at least a 33% correction, no more than 66. Then start hunting that bullish structure to get you in on the trade. Does that make sense?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Brian. That was really well done and well said.
All right.
Appreciate that.
Having said
Um,
that, I would strongly suggest that you wait, kind of like what we had happen on Bitcoin, where we were over here, the indicators were just looking like an absolute train wreck. They're just horrible. But we waited, and then the indicators started to W out and they started to turn back up. Does that make sense?
yes, sir.
So if you're going to do that approach on this guy, I would strongly, strongly suggest that you make sure, look down at your indicators and make sure that they are also Wing out.
That makes sense.
All right.
So we actually just got one from the chat that said check ENJ
Yeah,
on
okay.
it is on the bottom end of a trading range. And then
Versus
there's a USD on Coinbase.
Coinbase. You really
There we
liking
go.
this Coinbase, eh?
That's the exchange that I'm on now here in the
It's
US.
interesting
So
because you have been properly brainwashed.
yes, sir.
I don't even hear you saying the word Binance anymore.
Yeah.
So Mr. Fink right now watching this video is like, okay, I'm going to murder this guy, but kudos to that Joe guy. He's listened to my message.
Yeah, I got moved all my stuff over.
Right.
I'm a Coinbase guy now.
Right.
And
This is a
they've actually had some really good commercials coming out recently. I don't know if you've seen any of them, but it's all about challenging the financial system, and I'll have to send you some if you hadn't. They just released another one today, and it's just talking about like the paths and like the cycles that basically what they keep telling us. Oh yeah, take out loans, yes, pay it back, and you're good. And they're like time to break it. So, but yeah,
well,
I have to say in their commercials, they've had some really good commercials over the past couple of years, which
Coinbase.
yeah.
Not interesting. I don't. The problem is, do you actually watch TV anymore? I can't
Uh,
remember. Honestly,
only
I can't even
sports.
remember the
Only
last
if
time I watched
Marquette
TV.
basketball or the Green Bay Packers are playing.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So us guys, we'll
That's
watch
my extent of
sports.
watching.
But even
Uh,
like football now. I mean, hell, I don't even watch football on TV anymore. In fact, it's painful to have to sit and wait through the commercials, right? Like
yeah,
on YouTube and stuff, you can just zip through them.
yeah.
Anyway, all right. So this one was tricky, right? Because you can see it doesn't really make pretty bottoms, does it?
No, sir.
If anything, this is a bit bothersome, right? The fact that I mean, I suppose there was an okay structure there. You could have traded that, but I doubt that gave you a double. What is that? That's 26, and that took you up to 34. Yeah, so no double there.
Yeah.
And it goes and breaks your heart. Huge dump. This was probably, and then we went after the stops and liquidated all these poor people in here. V bottoms need to be tested. So you notice we rally up and then boom, right back down. Then you can see, okay, are we going to W out? Are we going to, oh no, puke out new low, puke out new low. And then the thing just launches higher out of nowhere. So I don't really like the look of this thing. This looks a little suspicious here. Having said that, markets can remain illogical far longer than anybody can remain solvent. Usually, this is a hallmark of a manipulated market. Like somebody knows that the natural sort of price action is W's. And with these rallies, I mean, they're face rip rallies. But notice, what's our analogy of V bottoms? What do I say? V bottoms, what?
Oh, I don't. Let me see. Uh, my notes say V bottoms and V top V bottoms stuck in a trading range. I
V
don't know what that
bottoms, thank you, TBG. Like to be tested.
means.
And there's Adam. Uh,
Thank you
Great to
guys.
see our OGs are representing, so that's good.
Much appreciated. Well, I'm making note of that.
Yeah. And
We're
same thing
gonna
with V tops, right? This V top here, at some point down the road, the market's going to want to go up and test that, and that's what this event is. So, point here is I don't I don't really think that this is actually really long-term structure. This to me looks like a lot of market manipulation. I think I remember being in this name years ago. Like this thing's been around forever, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. And it's probably got a long way to go. Yeah, look at that, eh?
It's like up to 380 or something like that.
So
385.
you had said earlier, you asked me, oh, is that a Nanny Nibbles
Oh
kind of
no, even
idea?
more.
Um, I suppose if the chart does look something along these lines, okay, you can go and nibble, right? The rule about Nanny Nibbles, little old lady, is never, ever, ever risk more than 5% of your stake, what you have to work with, on any one single idea. The issue here, though, is just understand that if you do go and buy this thing, you have to be able to handle this thing. I mean, this might be the top. Like, what is this two-bar pattern called here? Do you remember what that two-bar pattern? This big bar and then this bar right here. What's that called?
Um, is the not the
It's
Empire
an inside bar,
inside
and
bar?
it's also
Yes.
a fractal, which means that remember we talked about the maple leaf.
Yep.
So if we do go through this low in this candle here, that actually is a bit of a sell signal. You can see how this was an inside bar. We went through the lows and we had to work our way back down. Then we went and put in railroad tracks, and you could argue a nice little 3-bar fractal up, and we go back up. There's an inside bar that fired. This one we went down. Then it put an inside bar that fired, and we went back up. So you might find that this thing's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And what I said this a few minutes ago. Let's see if you can jump through a hoop. If I did want to do a value trade on this thing, what's the rule or what's the tool that I should throw on here?
You should do the bot.
Nope.
Oh, then the Fibonacci retracement and do the reload zone.
All right. So there is our reload zone. There's 78.6. There's 88.6. This is my preferred area.
Yeah.
Notice there's 200 SMA just below Mr. Mountain Man. And then remember we said there was a 2-bar railroad tracks pattern, which is a very powerful reversal signal. And really, I might say that if I was thinking like look left, where is key support? It's that low right there, and it's that low right there. And notice that sandwiches right around Brian's favorite fib. So if I was a value hunter, what I would and I like the fact that notice we were making lower highs and lower lows, very bearish. So this move up here has smashed all of this bearish structure. That's a good sign. So what that means is this is actually pointing up, but you can't chase, right? So and you want to be a value investor. So if anything, what I'm kind of thinking when I look at this is this kind of looks like a big ass head and shoulders top here as well. So there's our key support level right there. I got a funny feeling that this guy's kind of trapped in a range here. That, what do we call these? This kind of action on
V
the
top,
huh?
the V top.
It is a V top, but we also said that this is kind of, it's not really a shooting star. But when we have this
Okay.
size of this wick up here, there's a whole bunch of trap bulls up here, right?
Yes.
And kind of like this candle here, a whole bunch of trap bulls. So the market goes zipping up into that area. And these guys that are trapped, they all come out and go, sell, 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 sell. Get me the hell out of there, right? Kind of idea. So they
Yeah.
are establishing a whole bunch of trap bulls up top here. Just on blush, I would say there's the top end of your range and there's the bottom end of your range. Pretty wide trading range. Do I really want to come in and invest my hard earned money there?
No.
I probably want to invest my hard earned money down here somewhere. Then I'd also add in for fun price gaps. Well, what's our rule about price gaps? Price gaps always what?
They don't like to stay open. They get filled 91% of the time.
Oh, nice. Hey, even stats, barking stats at me. I love that. So, do you see the price gap right there?
I do.
I don't
Sorry.
know whether you can see that or not. I'll zoom in. You see?
91.4%. Thank you.
Yeah, there you
TPG.
go. TBG for the win. So, do you see how there's a hole on the chart here?
Yes.
If I was a betting man and I wanted to throw my bid in, what would be really cool, we tried this before, but it didn't work very well. But what would be really cool is I would want to go down and look on the order book and
Uh-huh.
actually look on the order book around this 23, 24 cent level. And what I'd really want to see is I want to see a notch down there on the order book, which would validate that this is actually a pretty good trade location. So I'm not quite sure how you can see all the way down. This
Yeah.
only goes down, what, 3 cents? Can we adjust this to see the whole
Right.
order book?
Might be a limitation from that. If you click on, I think we tried this last time on the top of the chart, it says market depth, like on the chart part.
Oh yeah, well that'll get rid of
Yeah.
the price chart here. Well, that'll take
But I
us to a
think,
different screen, right?
yeah,
I was just
yeah,
wondering whether we could see it on this right here,
I
but
don't
no big
believe so.
deal. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
deal that another day. Anyway, so the point of the matter here is there's 88.6. There's Brian and his favorite fib. There's key horizontal support and resistance. How many reasons do we usually want to have to justify taking a trade?
Three.
I can see right now horizontal support and resistance, venture cap reload zone, big fat gap. That's three unrelated reasons for me to be looking to do a trade here somewhere between 22 and 25 cents. So that's the way I would be looking at this thing right now. Unfortunately, I could not buy that there. I just couldn't. In fact, interestingly enough, look at what they're doing right now. If they finish, I mean, who knows what tomorrow's going to look like, but this is a daily chart. Do you see how they're actually leaving a price gap here?
Yes.
I don't know whether you can see
Now I
that or
can.
not. You see
Now I
that
can.
right there? So, ironically enough, this might actually become a profit taking objective some point in the not too distant future. And all the people, of course, who bought up here, if we ever do get back up into this wick, they're going to desperately want to get the hell out of there, right?
Hmm.
And now, have you ever heard me say an expression about candle body highs before? What do I say about candle body highs? And
For
lows.
trade location.
Yeah. So ironically enough, we can actually even predict the future a little bit here, because we said that we like reload zones as trade location, right?
Hmm.
We've got a gap. We know that wicks and tails like to be eaten. There's a bunch of trap bulls up there that like to get out. And we also know that this is pretty good trade location, candle body highs and lows for trade location. So that means that we should be able to take our fib tool and draw it down. Now we're going to turn it around because remember, reload zones going up or the other way around.
Yeah.
So we should be able to take our reload zone tool and actually drag it down so that the reload zone actually lines up with things like the gaps and the candle body highs. And remember, we said there a moment ago, if Brian wanted to buy, he wants to buy around that gap. Well, lo and behold, if we drag this down to that gap level, right, that's right there. Notice, Mountain Man, Brian's favorite fib. It looks like it's setting up a trade in the future. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's kind of a fun way to use
Yeah,
fibs to try and predict the future. The fact that they're leaving a price gap here, I don't think is an accident. So anyway,
understood. Well, we are getting at 6:47 already. That's time flew by.
yeah,
What do we
gee
got? One
whiz.
more in
Yeah,
us?
incredible, eh? I mean, are you enjoying this? How about you
I
guys
am.
over on YouTube? Hey, Jesus, we got 20 people now watching the
There
video.
we
We're
go. Hey,
growing like
we're
a
picking up
weed.
momentum. Must be a bull run.
Yeah, you can tell the public's starting to come back.
Someone asked, does a visual indicator exist for trapped bulls?
A
The wicks.
visual indicator. Well, just think of wicks, right?
Yeah.
Wicks are usually the sign of trap bulls. Like, look at this little rally here. You know, these poor people that bought into here, notice as soon as we rallied into there, all of a sudden price actually started to peter out. Why?
Mhm.
Because these people here, trap bulls, they needed to get out. Same thing here. Look at that wick right there.
Those are the ones
That wick
sleeping on the
right there.
couch.
Right? And we rallied up into that area. They went, oh God, thank God, get me the hell out of here. And price had to come back down. So you can just scroll out on your charts. Do you
Look
see
left.
who asked this question? Right here. You know there's a bunch of trap bulls in that candle right there. There's a bunch of trap bulls in this candle right here. Right? You can all you got to do is just zoom out and just see where the wicks are.
Beautiful.
Trader V, is
TV.
that their name? Do you see
Trader
that?
TV.
Do you understand what I'm trying to get at here? And ironically enough, it's the same thing with Bitcoin. You know, I'd show you the Bitcoin chart, but we probably don't want to do that. Let's move on to
We got one more. EOS.
EOS. Oh, I'm long a ton of this. I actually don't know how it's been doing. I would imagine it's probably
We
moving
got an
up.
OK sign and a thumbs up from Trader TV.
All right, well, that's a good sign. All right. I did see somebody up there say that Beamish guy's a legend. Geez, I'd
I
love for that to be the
I'd
case.
agree with that one.
Would you? Really?
I would.
I would love, I know it sounds really bad. Remember, my wife passed away like a dozen years ago, so I'm just
Yes,
living on
sir.
borrowed time anyway. But I would love to pass away and stand in front of my maker and we look down and all of you people are talking about me as a guy that you actually respected in this space and that you could trust.
A man with integrity.
That would be fucking awesome.
Uh, I said EOS to USD. Let's see another Coinbase one since we're rolling with it. Seems
Jeez,
to be
man,
giving
you
us
guys have been
data.
brainwashed. What happened to Trex? You know what? I'm waiting for my fucking Cryptopia coins.
Did you? So it's funny if you actually click back to the Coinigy homepage, like the tab you have up
Yeah,
there.
I think
We have
Trex
to
is on
update
here.
that.
Hey,
Look at
there's
Bittrex,
Trex.
but look at the 24-hour volume. 48.
It's nothing. It's
So
gone.
yeah, Bittrex is, I think they're done. So that's just probably the last
And
people
it's
getting their
gone.
money off the exchange. But I saw that earlier and I laughed.
In fact, I'm still waiting for MidPal to give us a refund. You ever heard of those guys?
No, that was
How
just
about
before my time.
man? There were some funny ones. Crapsy, do you remember Cripsy?
Cripsy, yep, that was shutting down as I was getting into crypto.
There you go. Yeah.
I dodged a bullet there.
All right. So EOS, and you want to look at this on Coinbase? Hey, geez, just listening to you guys sounds to me like Coinbase is firmly established its monopoly here.
And you know what? I'll take it. It's got a lot of uh the coins I want.
Yeah, maybe I should get off my ass and get an account up and running there. Just quit with this silly nonsense. Because I think the powers that be are going to want to try and kill DeFi anyway. But anyway, we'll see what
I could
happens.
definitely see them wanting to do such a thing.
All right, come on, baby. EOS, USD, Coinbase, everything's clicked. Let's do a race. Let's see which one goes first. EOS, USD. And Coinbase. Isn't that interesting? It's sort of like if I use the tab a lot, then it freezes up. But if I leave it alone for a while, it unfreezes. Anyway,
Adam says Coinbase is giving me my fills.
all
That's what
right.
all you can ask for.
So, what is this three bar pattern right there called? That, and that.
That is the it's not the empire. It's
Well, you
opposite.
might call it an inverted
Opposite
empire,
invert empire.
but it's a fractal.
A fractal. Yeah. Okay.
And, you know, it would be cool to have like a wicks and tails kind of indicator, trap bulls, trap bears. You know, the
I would
person who was
like that.
asking about trap bulls and trap bears, here's a good example. Whole bunch of bears here. Notice they brought the price right back down into this level, and these people got released here, right? They created a whole bunch of new trap bears here, and they got released here. So there are still some trap bears down in there. And my hunch is at some point down the road, we will trade back down into that level. Um, I'd also argue too that this is your sort of value trade area. You can see that they tried to put in a nice little double bottom in there and it worked its way up and then it went and emmed out nastily. Then came careening back down. Must have been some really bad news here. So I'd be curious to see what the fundamental drivers on this thing are.
Okay.
But something very, very negative hit right around the middle of August.
I mean, this one's
Um,
still at the way end of its trading range as well.
Pardon me?
Okay. It's on the way end of a trading range as well. It was up to 18 a couple years back.
Really? Yeah, so, this is another one where if you're like, well, Brian, I'm just going to come in here. I'm just going to nibble away that Nanny Nibbles little old lady. Remember, we said you absolutely cannot risk more than how much of your portfolio on any one name?
5%.
Right. So if you came in and bought like a 0.5%, maybe you bought a 0.5% there, another 0.5% there, another 0.5% there. Maybe you're underwater right now. That's, considering such a huge range here. And what did we say about V tops and V bottoms?
They like to be tested.
I might argue. And then, talking to our buddy there, Trader V, where are all of these poor devils sleeping right now? And actually, you can even. Actually, interesting. Look at that. There's not really much of a wick up top there, is there?
No.
But you can definitely see these guys right here. They're a bunch of trap bulls right there, sleeping on the couch, kind of idea.
Yeah.
So probably, and then interestingly enough, candle body highs for trade location. Believe it or not, actually, I think that that's actually a trade location to keep an eye out for going forward. So anyway, point I would just say here is if you did want a nanny nibble on this kind of stuff, I mean, I was a little bit terse there earlier. I just say absolutely not. Well, and I just don't want you to like sit on underwater on positions.
Yeah.
As it stands, I think you can clearly see where the value trade is on this thing. That looks like a
Yes,
pretty
sir.
good looking W down there. Then we also had a really nice little fractal there. You could also argue too. This is a pretty big like W within W within W. Eh? There's a bunch of W's there.
Can you switch that to line chart for a second? I'd be
Yeah, it'll
curious. Yeah.
disappear.
Yeah.
So poof, and it's gone.
Yeah. Still
This is
got it.
sadly this is another one of these where because that is a V, it's not a W. Because
Mhm.
it's a V, what should we expect at some point down the road?
Oh,
That's
to be
probably going to
tested.
get tested. You
Yes.
know, so just be aware that when this thing does roll over, we might have to come all the way right back down against those lows. Um, Having said that, I really do like this three bar fractal there. But I would agree with you. This is the bottom end of the range. It's a sloppy looking bottom, which sort of this is another one of these that once we right now we're going through the pre-halvening pump rally, and I think I showed you on Twitter. We're in this window right now. You know,
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if this carries on. I mean, maybe we top out tomorrow. I don't know. But I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, actually, we're up in this area here anyway right now. Eh? So this chart's even a little bit old. But I wouldn't be surprised if we actually have to get up into these levels. And once that happens, then names like this, they probably start rolling over. So a value level down in here. We've jumped up quite a bit, banged our way into 200 SMA. Usually acts as resistance. You could also argue, trap bulls, previous market structure top. Does it not make sense that actually this is a very well defined M top there? Up, down, up, fail. And
Mm-hmm.
then we even failed again. We tried to recapture it, then more M's, and then just puke out central. And like I said, if you are interested in this name, it would be really interesting for you to know what was the fundamental driver around this. Now, also look left. Notice that once we got up into this area, there was a bit of traffic. Once we were able to clear through this level here, notice we went look left, zoom right up into this high here. So you see how that was like an air pocket right there? Look
Yeah.
left, there was the next resistance point, and that's where she stopped. See that? So,
And
point of the matter here, I suppose, is we'd probably be thinking trend continuation, which means we're trading the bot. So we go there to there, and then we bought this out. So there and there and there and there and there. So we want to see at least 33%, but no more than 66. So you can see it's done that. Then we want to see 25, which is, we'll leave that one on. 50 and 25. And then we have to reverse that. All right. So, yeah, what a surprise. You can see the double bottom. Actually, this is a pretty good example because can you see how there's also a W right here?
mm-hmm.
Kind of hard to see, but we
I can
got
see how the V
1
one.
kilo, 2 kilos, then we went up, then we pulled back, put in a doji here, and then we turned up. So you could say that's your 3rd kilo. A lot of times I do like to see trend line breaks on these. You want to see 3 tags of the trend line. So 1, 2, 3. And then notice that that's that counter trend rally. And then we turned up through there. If you wanted to be aggressive, I don't really have a problem, especially on the rally here. This in itself, like you could change this to like a 4-hour chart or something. And my hunch is there's the 25 level right there. What is this pattern called? I'll make it nice and easy for you. We'll go like that. And then we'll go
Cup
like,
and handle.
yeah. So can you see the cup and handle?
Yes, sir.
So nice how that's set up right off of that 25 level. And look how they even, after the cup and handle broke out, look how they brought the market back. So if you were nice and patient and disciplined, they brought the market back to the 25 level. You could have thrown your bid in right at that 25 level and you would have been filled right there. Isn't that cool?
It
And you can
is.
even see that price even went a little bit beyond that 25 level. So you know that you would have gotten a fill. I don't know whether you can see that or not.
Yeah.
See how it went a little bit beyond the 25 level?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I don't think, yeah, and often I see this as a technician is that people will say, oh, yeah, but this thing broke out. There was no way that you could have gotten in on that. Well, that's bullshit. You could have just worked your order at the 25 low and you would have gotten filled here. So, and actually, you know what? The link trade is putting in a bullish bot, and it's basically doing exactly the same thing right now. It's just playing right at the 25 level. So, but anyway, so on this particular one, we've bumped up to 50% or half of this anticipated move. So, what are you supposed to do at that level there?
Um.
50% of the anticipated move, we do what?
Blah, blah, blah. My brain's
Adam, you
broke.
want to help him out? TBG? My helpers in the YouTube chat? Anyone?
Move. Oh, move. Stop to scratch. I'm an
That's
idiot.
right. So
Oh,
at
it's
this
been a
point,
long
should
day.
you Should you hey, look at that? TBG and Adam answered. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. Ah,
So if
I
this
knew
thing
that.
does crap out, should we lose any money on this?
Nope.
All right. Interesting too. I often see this happen. Do you notice that at that 50%, half of the anticipated move, what we're really doing is the market's asking, do I really want to break out to new highs? You see that?
Uh-huh.
So right now, the market is really asking, am I a bull? I'm trying to be a bull. And if this actually does confirm and we close on like just close on up top here, what can we draw off of this huge range? And I'll give you a hint. We start from here and we're going to go back up against the highs.
That be chaos?
Yeah. So let's see. My hunch is 2.618 probably lines up with that bot objective. So where is 2.618? There it is. And hell, we'll even go 4669s just for fun. So where is 2.618? Oh, wow, all the way up there. Now, this will be an interesting example. What do you think the odds are that maybe one of the alt ABCD levels lines up with that 2.618?
Pretty high.
So alt ABCD levels are
That one would be 1.272.
all right,
And
and
then 168.
1.618.
618. Yes.
And look how 1.272 and that chaos level align nicely there. So what this is telling me is she's trying to break out, and it'd be interesting. Let's see if we have the indicators confirming. They don't look bad. I don't really see any divergence here. Notice MACD histogram went to new highs here. RSI has not M'd out. It's trying to, but it hasn't M'd out yet. But I would say Willie is officially stupid. So, probably a really good analogy. You probably shouldn't come in on the buy side here. But I don't see any divergence or anything to get worried about. So you be long on this thing right now, pure momentum play from 69.5, we'll call it. You're moved your stop to scratch right now, so you shouldn't lose any money if this thing does crap out. And your target where I'd start spoon feeding would be 87 up to 93 up to 101. Now, is there anything that's significant about this level right up there? I'm not going to give you the answer.
I mean, you're asking, so, oh, BFRN.
Good, very good.
Let's go.
So usually, and BFRN basically stands for big fat, round number.
numbers.
And markets love to run after big fat round numbers. So actually, it shouldn't surprise us that, if we do get up to this dollar level, that will definitely get a lot of people's attention. And they will be, probably taking some profits there.
That's
Where
what
are we
happened
long
with
this
ADA.
TBG? This is one of the names that we did buy, and TBG is a member of the Canasta Club. So, first and foremost, what we really want to be doing, and let's see if I can show you where I'm long. I think I've got my spreadsheet up here. Yeah, LOL portfolio. Where did I buy some of this EOS? I thought I bought some of this. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I got tons of these names on the books. Funny, I thought I was in this thing. There it is,
Number 5.
EOS. All right.
Bought it back in
Oh,
January.
interesting. So I didn't actually come in. This one I bought about a year ago. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't really buy too much. And so that means I'm still underwater on this guy. So I actually came in and did my, remember I'd said earlier, because this thing was so much higher way back when, I really didn't have a problem if you were nibbling away down here. So there's a really good example where I nibbled here. Should I have been on my game and kept nibbling as we worked our way lower? Probably. Because I'm long from these W's here, I'm going to be looking for a move up to here to actually start taking profits. So really, there's nothing for. I'm not trading this. This is just nothing more than the little old lady. And fascinating how this bullish bot is actually going to take us right up into that dollar level. So I'll probably end up being a scratch trader on this at the end of this move. And you can kind of see how maybe if I go something like there to there to there to there to there to there to there. That's probably what's going to happen here. So, look left. Where is key resistance? If we do get a pop all the way up into these levels, then great, I'll sell halves on doubles. Right now, in fact, actually, this even looks like inverted head and shoulders here. There to there to there. Probably up into this area. There's the bot target, right? So up into that area, then back down into here, and then maybe up into there. I could see something like that. And if anything, I do like this kind of thinking because I
Hmm.
think that we're going to get this ETF news. Bitcoin hits at 61.8, all that kind of stuff before the end of the year, believe it or not. And then we're probably going to spend. I'm hearing a lot of people down in the States talking about how there's probably going to be a major global recession sometime first quarter of 2024. So that would
Woohoo!
actually align with that kind of thinking as well. So what I would say is if you are a little old lady and Canasta Club member, yeah, and you did buy at these levels here, there's no reason why you can't sort of keep nibbling away. If I was trading this, I think the levels are pretty clear where you want to be long. Stop at scratch, and this thing could do anything here. I could easily see this. This is like literally a flip of the coin. We could very easily come right back down to the bottom and maybe back and hug that trend line and bounce off of that trend line. And that might be a reload zone. Hey, what do you think the odds are there? So if we go there to there to there to there to there to there. See, I'm getting quick at this now.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, look at that, 78.6 to 88.6. So
Boom.
this thing could go either way here. I mean, we could very easily head up top. We could very easily puke out, and that's why there's no way I could take a trade right here. It's way too risky.
Understandable.
So I don't know whether that answers the question who asked about this one. But yeah, I'm actually, ironically enough, for the little old lady Canasta Club, I did my original purchase about a year ago on this thing, actually up around $1, which would be, I guess, where was that? That was in this area
There's,
here. It was
yeah,
probably on this rally. I drew a reload zone, and I got filled on a stink bid down in here. That's probably what happened. Something like that.
gotcha.
All right.
Awesome.
Did I do that name justice? Do we have a
I
pretty
think
good
you
idea what's
did.
going on here?
I do.
All right.
Awesome. Well,
Look
Brian,
at that. It's already 10 after 7.
yeah, it's
So,
10 after 7. So I think we'll uh wind this down. I did make note. I see Chris has a kilt there. Um,
Hilt? Maybe we'll look
yeah,
at that next.
yes, sir.
Is that a
We
name?
will
Yeah.
make note of that. Um, but everyone, thank you all for tuning in this week. Be sure to like the video, comment on it, give us the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and yeah, we truly appreciate everyone who tuned in.
Yeah, be sure to try and like this video. Like, I only see one like here. I don't know whether any of you 20 people like this, but
We're up to
it
12 likes, it shows.
oh, really? Yeah, interesting. On mine, it
It
only
shows
shows
me
one. So that's
maybe
good. But
13.
if
Keep
you
them coming.
can hit the like button, or if you're watching this later on, it turns out like YouTube really, they're really big on those likes. So if you could try and do that, we'd
I gotta
appreciate
remember to
it.
start saying this in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, actually, a lot of these social media guys, they do like a little 1 or 2 minute intro, and then they go, "All right, and now let's talk about you liking the video." Make darn sure
Yeah.
to. So anyway.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you very much. and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Bye for now.